Let's have a closer look at some technical details for this weekend's Brazilian Grand Prix. Brazil is a classic high downforce track, but some teams might try to reduce downforce a bit in order to get a better top speed on the main straight to be able to overtake more easily. On this shot of the Red Bull garage, we can see a couple of interesting things. Their low-hanging front calipers, their preconditioning unit to heat up and cool engine systems, and the sheer amount of components and cables underneath the driver to have space for their large side pod undercut. We see they brought their high downforce rear wing and they are using a gurney flap. The Red Bull has less drag overall, so it can afford a draggier rear wing and still keep good top speed. Ferrari brought a similar high downforce rear wing. Also here they use a gurney flap. These yellow spots help to measure the wing's deflection during a lap. Alpine brought their elegant and very straight high downforce wing. Interesting here is that the center pillar is not touching the profile at the front and underside, it only holds it from above to keep the suction side clean. McLaren is using a very small pivot point for the rear wing flap, where the rotational axis is very close to the wing surface. That allows them to have enough space to the trailing edge to mount a gurney. Now that teams use much less paint on their cars, we can see the different parts much better. Impressive is here the large metal sintered piece that connects the third element to the nose. Also note how they combined that, the skyhook and the flap in this area. They use 6 screws for that. Alfa Romeo is using a gurney flap too, but it's a few millimeters short due to the longer shape of the pivot point. And we can see the same on the Alfa Tauri. Aston Martin brought their armchair rear wing again and use a relatively long screw for their pivot point. And also this Silverstone-based team showed us their floor. We can see a slimmer center section with steps at front and rear like we know it from Red Bull. And that's no surprise because the team has a tradition in hiring Red Bull staff and hence copying Red Bull features. As far as we can see here, there are no hard kick points anymore like teams were using at the beginning of the season. Check out my previous videos if you want to know more about that. And Haas brought their well-known high downforce rear wing with a small gurney flap. I hope you liked this little insight and see you at the next video.